What's up, everybody?
Hello, what's going on, family?
What's up, everybody?
It's good to be back.
It's good to be back.
I want to start doing 2 a days.
Come
ready.
on, man. The 2 a days.
Ready.
You're not ready for no 2 a days.
I'm ready, Doc.
You're not ready for no 2
I'm
a
ready.
days. Listen, everybody. This is your host, your co-host with the most, Shannon Austin, Coach Shan. And I got my girl with me.
Big Cheryl in the building.
They call her Big Cheryl. She thinks she a thug, but she's not a thug. This is My Marriage is Dope podcast. And welcome back to another episode. You're not no thug. You're not tough, Big Cheryl.
I'm so not.
You did used to like to fight back in the day, though.
I did.
So
no more.
You did earn your reputation.
All my boxing gloves away. I understand my age and my abilities, and I ain't about to front for nobody.
That's funny. That is funny to me. Listen, it's good to see you, man.
It's good to be seen.
The last time we were here, I was sick as a dog.
You were. He had COVID, y'all, while we were on the last podcast. He had COVID. We didn't know it at the time, but yep.
But look at me, pat myself on the back. Self-aggrandizement.
Why are you patting yourself about having COVID?
No, about how I pushed through.
Oh.
And I did it anyway.
You did have a great wife to take care of you.
I did. I pushed through adversity.
Yeah.
And made it.
As well you should. There you go.
Right. And so we're so glad to be back and to be sharing this time with you. This is really going to be an interesting topic today, I think.
We are opening ourselves up. We always open ourselves up, first off. We always open ourselves up to you guys.
We are an open book.
We are an open book. And I never wanted to be an open book, but this is the king of open bookness, right? And be with him for 28 years, I have learned to be an open book. However, that's one of the benefits and blessings of being with you.
Oh, wow. Okay, come on. Talk about it.
You have helped me to open up, to not be afraid to stand in truth. What anybody else thinks about truth, that's their business. It's not mine. And speaking truth is not for the purpose of just to speak it, but if it blesses somebody else, if it helps somebody else, if it gives somebody else that thing that they need to go another day, to go another moment, then it's worth it. And, so I fought it for a long time, but I just realized in talking to people and just, doing fillers, I'm like, oh, dang, like I shared X, Y, and Z, and, that really helped them. So, that's what we do. And that's what makes us special, and that's what people love about us. Right? We have been bumping heads lately. Bumpity bump.
Bumpity bumpity bump.
Bumpity bumpity bump.
Bumpity bumpy. You're frumpy, you're stumpy.
Listen, there was some disconnection going on in the Austin household. Listen, we were just on Girl Stop Playing podcast. And, people always want to know, like, what's the key? What's the one thing? There is no one thing. It is a whole bunch of things. And, that might seem overwhelming. And at times it can be overwhelming. But it's like, if you don't get things right, you could get all of this right and this one thing not right. And there's just...
Well, the challenge in life is to fire on all cylinders. And it takes a significant amount of intentionality to fire on all cylinders. Yes. There's going to be, it seems to be throughout the human experience and the human journey, there's going to be some area where you have to, you've fallen off or you're not really operating at full capacity. And that's the beauty of marriage. The beauty of marriage is to be able to know and be able to say, I don't have it all. I don't have all the answers. I'm not at 100% right now. I don't agree with you. I don't like you. All of these different things, and still be able to not just muddle through it, but push through really, really hard stuff, man.
That's the beauty of marriage, and that's the challenge of marriage or relationships, period, because people aren't doing that. People aren't saying, hey, I don't like you right now. Mm-hmm. People aren't saying, hey, you hurt me, right? Mm-hmm. Like, yo, like that's a lot of us are internalizing it. It comes out eventually.
Right.
But in the moment is when it needs to be said.
Right.
And
or not maybe not in the exact moment, but not too far after the moment.
Right. And I think that was one of our challenges
Challenges when?
Recently. Things were happening. I had my thoughts. You had your thoughts. We were creating narratives. We were kind of shutting down within our own self. Mm-hmm. And just like, you know what? Whatever. And just continuing to move on. Mm-hmm. So we thought. But over time.
That's not sustainable.
It's not sustainable. Mm-hmm. No. And, you know, you have two people who are left feeling devalued, unheard, unloved, unliked, and it can be a scary place.
Very, very scary place.
Yeah.
Very, very scary place.
Scary place.
Listen, while we're getting into this conversation, make sure that you come over to YouTube, My Marriage is Dope podcast, the YouTube channel, and make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you click the notification bell. And so you can be updated on all upcoming podcast episodes or any of the content we're putting out on this channel, because we really trying it is hard out here for a pimp.
Listen,
is there never a truer statement than marriage? And it seems like when we go on these podcasts and we talk about the difficulty in marriage or how hard marriage is, like that's a bad thing. But you know, you just don't let anybody fly a plane, right? You don't just let anybody. You just don't let any person come up and say, you know, hey, I slept in a Holiday Inn last night and I can do your heart surgery. No, it's hard.
Yeah.
And the reason why I believe that it's so hard is because it's so important. The marriage union is probably one of the most important entities on the face of the planet, hands down.
Yeah,
hands down. And a part of that to make it through challenges and difficulties and things of that nature, you gotta be tested. You gotta be tried in the fire.
Yeah.
Of sorts.
Yeah.
And it is through those challenges and through that fire that you come out really so much better on the other side.
Yep.
I am so much of a better human being having been married to you. Even though it's been the hardest freaking thing I've ever had to... No, I'm just joking.
Hey, listen.
But it's like I am better. I am better because I can't just walk away from you and then I don't want to sit in an environment that has contention. I'm definitely not wired that way. And so at some point in time, I'm forced to face it. And I'm forced to deal with and I don't mind conflict. I'm not a person that minds conflict.
Right.
But with you in such a close, intimate space, conflict is just heavy, and it's like, oh, I don't want to deal with it. But now, something is coming to me based off of what we're talking about today. It's like, what's challenging is if I thought you would agree with me all the time, if you always saw my point, or if you always understood what I was saying, I would have no problem bringing whatever my challenges are to you.
If you thought I agreed with you all the time.
If I thought you agreed with me all the time, if I thought that you accepted what I had to say, but you're a human being, and you don't have to agree with me. Like if I say I have a challenge, of course that's my challenge. If you have to be acceptant of that, but if you have something contrary to say,
but why do you want me to agree with you all the time?
I know I'm not saying I do. I'm saying. That's really what I want. Like in my mind, it's not that I'm afraid of conflict. Yeah, I just want you to agree with me. I want you to validate me. I want you to, right? So when I believe that that's not going to happen, I shy away from the confrontation.
So that's interesting, right? Because that narrative of, if you agree with me, you validate me. Mm-hmm. That is so dangerous, right?
It's very dangerous.
Okay, yeah, because
it's very dangerous because you don't have to agree with me you don't have to agree with me for me to know, for you to demonstrate that you love me, you support me, you're here for me, you're in this to win this, all of those other wonderful good things.
Right.
But you get like, I don't like that shade of whatever, blue or green or whatever. I don't like that. Well, why don't you like that? I know that's an oversimplification.
But no, yeah, and that speaks to, right, things that are happening in relationships we are taking things so personal. Right? What you just said. Me not agreeing with you is not saying, I don't agree with you, Shannon, because something is wrong with you. I don't agree with you because I don't like you or I don't love you.
But that's the interpretation. That's the human interpretation. Something is wrong. And the wrong is something is wrong. Mm-hmm. I'm broken. I'm not completely healed. Right? So there's something wrong internally. Mm-hmm. And so I need your validation. I need your pat on the back. I need you to agree. I need you to not argue with me and not give me friction because of the brokenness that exists in me and I believe in all human beings. It is a higher evolved human being who is completely healed and has absolutely, like, you just cannot, their internal, their reference point is always internal. They're constantly at peace. They don't need the extrinsic validation that the world has to offer, and they are at a place of zen. It takes a very emotionally evolved person to be in that state of mind, but all the time, consistently.
And that is a process. You don't just get there. You don't just go from being unhealed to being healed. Right. The work is, and this is the crazy thing, because the work is when you are faced with the opportunity to think, oh, she's not validating me because she disagrees with me. Mm-hmm. The work is you saying, Shannon, no, that's the little boy in you talking. That's the broken place in you talking. Mm-hmm. She is a sovereign human being who has her own thoughts, feelings, etc. Mm-hmm. So just, for you, what keeps you from having that talk with yourself so that you don't pour out that brokenness into our marriage?
You don't get no dopamine hit off of that. It is addictive to wallow in one's brokenness.
That is so sad.
It becomes a comfortable place. It's a familiar place.
So, it's comfortable when there is tension between us?
No, not at all.
Right.
Yeah, not at all.
So that place is comfortable, but what that place produces is discomfort in the marriage.
Well, that's the difference between heroin and cocaine.
You and your analogies.
Right. That's the difference. Which high you want.
Oh, my word.
Sometimes I want the cocaine high, and sometimes I want that heroin high. You know what I'm saying? And
I'm not here for the highs.
Right. But I'm just being transparent now, and I just want to, like, there is work that I have to continue to do, that I'm going to continue to do until the day I die, and hopefully, progressively over time, it's not the same work over and over. It's different work. But, to be honest with you, God rest his soul, my pops did a number on me, man. I did, like just to want to be heard. You know the story about Tommy. Mm-hmm. I told that story before. Mm-hmm. Just the story of just being heard. Like, if nothing else comes around often in our marriage, is when how I feel when I feel you're not hearing me, when you're not listening or you're not focusing in on what I'm saying. Oftentimes, because why I do want you, while I'm saying this to myself, I'm making myself laugh. Because I think I'm right often. Right? I think I'm right often. But you don't think I'm right often. And when you agree with a particular point, what you're saying is you're right. Now, you know I say this all the time. You know I say this all the time. I don't think I know everything, but what I know, I know. Pure and simple. I just don't think I have all the answers. I don't think I know everything. But what I know, I know.
And so far, you felt like you've known everything in our 28 years.
No, definitely not. I've been wrong 1 or 2 times.
Thank you.
In 28 years.
Which means everything. Thank you.
Right? No, but seriously. But I'm sometimes this podcast is a counseling session for me. Because I'm walking through and listening to myself, listening to something, to what is being said, and coming to realizations about some aspect of our relationship, and that is very, very true. Like as I look, it's like I because my voice was stifled as a little boy. My voice, I'd be damned if my voice is stifled as when I'm grown.
So
I'll be right. I'll be, and so I fight so hard against that. And when I feel like I'm not being heard, that's when I really puff up, or not being understood. I did my MBTI. We do the DISC assessment as a tool for helping people understand how people are wired based on their personalities. Another one of those personality assessments is the MBTI, right? And MBTI, I am an INFJ. And they describe INFJs as advocates. And if you read my assessment profile of me, my general overall, the summary of it, one of the main things said is advocates have an extreme aversion to not being understood. Like if anything sets us off, it is the belief that we are misunderstood, like we're not understood, we're not heard, and we're not understood. And that has been 2 glaring problems as it relates to me and how I deal with conflict in our marriage.
And you know what's interesting about that? The extreme need and advocacy to be heard can sometimes cause the other person to not be heard.
Very, very true.
Right? So yesterday when we were talking about me having a voice, that is the experience of sometimes feeling like I don't have a voice. Because you are so adamant about being heard, and if I don't agree with you, like it becomes a problem.
Don't lean away from me. You're leaning away like you're abused or something.
No, but it so I just want you to see, it's interesting you talk about the term that you learned in the military, don't let somebody live in your head rent free. And it's like, after 50 years, how much longer does Tommy have to live in your head?
That was a bad butt whipping I got.
Yeah, not 50 years worth.
Yeah, it was 50 years. It was bad.
No.
That spanking was bad. That wasn't a spanking. That was a whipping.
It was a whipping. Yes.
That was a whipping. That was an unprovoked, right? Like clearly it was bad enough for me to remember. Like I don't remember any of my mother's spankings. I remember her, popping me in the mouth or something like that. But I don't remember her spanking me. I know she did spank me.
Right.
I don't remember any of my grandmother's spankings. But I remember that one because I wasn't wrong. I was being obedient, but I got a spanking anyway. And of course, he's dead as a doornail.
Yes.
He can't stop leaning away from me.
I'm not leaning away from you.
You are. I'm looking at you on the camera. You're leaning away from me. I'm watching you. Stop.
See?
Right. So, but I mean, I do get. I got. At some point in time, I got to let it go. But that is just an indication of how that affected me, and
I think that's more of an indication. I think how it's presented itself now is less of how much it has affected you and more about you not doing the work. Because I look at the fact that I was molested and given up for adoption and things of that nature. Like, that's traumatic. Not that getting beat.
Come on now. Don't do that.
Not that getting beat.
Don't do that. No,
I'm going to do that. Not
do
that getting beat is not traumatic.
Right.
But your mother giving you up is traumatic. How you find out, right? And so I'm not comparing. I want you to hear what I'm saying. What I'm saying is working through those things, and you see me working to not allow that to come in between us. It's like you got to do the work. That's all I'm saying.
Right, you smirking.
Because your brain is like, what's your brain got to say?
So the topic on the table really is we are saying the same thing.
Yeah.
But what keeps us from being able to, it's one major thing. It's one major thing that is keeping us from being able to really understand each other. And what is that?
There's multiple things. So I don't know exactly what you're talking about, but I would say that I think a fear of loss of control. I really think on both of our parts, not just like on both of our parts. Like there's a control, wanting to hold on. Oh, sorry guys.
Yeah, put that on Do Not Disturb, please, ma'am.
Wanting to hold on to control. Yep. But yeah.
I think I think the one thing that it is a lack of conscious empathy.
Lack of conscious empathy.
Yep. It is. We have not made it a habit to operate in a space of empathetic communication. Stephen Covey talks about it in his book, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. First seek to understand, then be understood. That's not a human trait that is often just, you can't turn that switch on. It's very, very difficult to turn that switch on of, let me stop, let me pause, and let me listen to what you're saying.
What's under that? There's something under that.
I mean, it could be a variety of things under it, but the underlying cause is not as important as this is where the underlying cause is getting us. Right? If we cannot see where it's taking us, like if we realize that we don't have an completely empathetic, communicative, conscious communicative process, then it's hard for us to deal with humans in a way that allows us to pause, listen to what they're saying, and empathize with it. Before we are taking an opportunity to explain our point, get our point across, share our point of view, have our voice heard. Like, it takes a lot of discipline to put your voice on the back burner, not because someone is dominating you, but because you're choosing to enter that empathetic space and to let them fully articulate how it is they feel, get that out, and then you process it in such a way that you can demonstrate an understanding of how they feel. That's hard.
That is very hard.
It's
hard.
unnatural, and it's difficult. Even when we decide and we are conscious about doing it, doing it is very, 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 very hard, because it causes you to step outside of being human and being more concerned about the survival of the fittest than being concerned about being empathetic towards, humanity.
What is the experience of doing that? What feelings come up for you?
What do you mean?
Like having to just listen, work on understanding.
Right.
I'm trying to think what feelings come up for me, like when.
Well, what comes up for me because of what you pointed out about me not having done the work is, I'll be damned if you stifle my voice. That's what comes up for me. You're going to hear what I have to say. And I can't spend too much time focusing on what you're saying, because I have to focus on what I have to say.
Right.
Right? So that removes any opportunity for empathetic communication.
Yeah.
It almost makes it impossible.
I think for whatever reason, all of us, to whatever degree, have you're going to hear my voice. You're not going to stifle my voice. Like when I just think about the whole idea of seeking to understand and then to be understood, why that is such a challenge in relationships. It does all go back to, you're going to hear my voice for whatever reason.
Yeah, and it also speaks to our lack of patience. It takes patience.
It does.
To allow somebody to fully work through a thought, to fully go through how they feel, and you process it along with them, because you're like, okay, when we gonna get to the point where I can share what's going on with me?
Right.
At what point in time do we get to that?
Because when you do something about what I say that's going on with me, I feel better.
Yes.
And that's what we're all trying to reach, the feel good point.
Right. What based off of our philosophy, if I'm focusing on making sure you feel good, and you're focused on making me feel like I feel good, then nobody gets left out.
Nobody gets left out.
But if you're focused on you and I'm focused on me, everybody gets left out.
Right, exactly. And that's why the question is, with when we're stuck in that place, it's like we have to ask ourselves, like, okay, Shirley, how is this working for you? Like, why are you holding on so tightly to you're standing on your rock and you're not willing to budge? Like, what is that about? That's the work. That's the self-coaching. That's the being able to say, okay, Shirley, what is it that you are feeling? Is what you're feeling, does it even make any sense? Seriously, like, is it justified based on all the facts of the situation? Not how you feel about what Shannon said or did, but what he actually did and what he actually said. Because a lot of times we are so focused on the feeling of what somebody said, right? How you made me feel, opposed to the truth. Like, is there truth in what Shannon said?
7:29 p.m.
Gosh.
Where was you in this technology
don't
going? What is
know.
going on?
Right. So, that's one of the things that we just really encourage you all to really, when your spouse, because listen, we're going to say things to one another that it hurts. That's just That's just going to happen until we no longer exist. And I have to continually ask myself, is Shannon trying to hurt me? Sometimes it's harder than other times to do that. But I ask myself, is he trying to hurt me? Like, why are you taking this so personal? Like, what is it? Like, today, I was like, when you came in today, your energy was just off to me. And when you went upstairs, I was like, okay, Shirley, are you tripping? What? Like, you cannot take it personal. Just let it go. Whatever. Like, I had to tell myself, like, I was tripping because I knew the energy.
You was definitely tripping.
Before, like, I was like, our energy was amazing. I was just like.
You was tripping.
I was tripping.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was fine.
Your energy was.
I was tired. I mean, I was tired when I came up. I sat down. I was like, that's just. I was out running all those errands in and out the car. I was tired. I wanted to sit down and get ready for, get my mind right for the podcast and all of that. I gave you tremendous amount of love when I came in, and kisses and loves and hugs.
Not tremendous.
It wasn't tremendous.
It wasn't tremendous.
It was like half-assed.
Yes, it was like you came and gave me a peck.
It wasn't a peck. It was like It was like that.
What planet are you on? Oh my God! Really?
It wasn't that. Because your head was back like this, and I was, and I remember because your eyes was right here.
I think you gave me like three of those.
Yeah. I was in a good space. Then I asked about the puppy. The puppy and why you and you shared with me the whole lack of what did you call it?
The difference between
stimulation.
men and women, y'all. Right? So we have to manage that. As a woman, I have to manage that.
Right.
Right? Because in the season of my life with you, I want so much of you. I want to be with you more than I've ever wanted to be with you. Like, be around you, be in your presence and things of that nature. And so when I get a certain energy from you, I do take it personal. Like, dang, what's wrong with him? Right? And,
So instead of you incorporating the work of don't take anything personal, right? You decide to internalize it as something was wrong. Is that what you did?
You talking about today?
Yes.
Yeah. Yep, I knew your energy was off.
I'm being so petty right now.
You are being petty. And I wasn't going to say anything.
I was like, are you going to
let you be petty.
Are you going to do the work today? Are we doing the work right now? What we doing?
You see? But no, yeah. But you did say something was off, and I knew something. I can feel something was off. And listen, off doesn't mean you have aught against me. I just knew your energy was off. It was dry. It was not the same from last night when you left out the door. Right? So, but yeah. But that's why communication is so important. And that's another thing with the disconnection that we have been experiencing lately as we talked, because we were boom, 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 button heads. And
not boom, 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 boom.
You go into your corner, I go into my corner, and we're trying to figure out what's going on. And then a week later, you share X, Y, and Z. And I'm like, babe, if you had just told me that, then I could understand where your head is at. But that's why it's so important. And listen, I've done the same thing, right? Assume things or, had my own perspective about something and not bring it to you. And so I now treat you based on what I'm feeling opposed to what's really happening or what has really happened.
Pause for a second. So listen, guys, Instagram and TikTok, we're going to let you guys go. We want you to come over to My Marriage. Hey, Precious. We want you to come over to My Marriage is Dope podcast on YouTube. What's up, Kenneth?
We've been married for 26 years. 26, going on 27 in 2 months.
But we want you guys to come over to My Marriage is Dope podcast on YouTube. So we're going to be letting you guys go right now. But thank you for tuning in to Behind the Scenes. And pop over.
YouTube.
Make sure you
My
subscribe.
Marriage is Dope.
YouTube right now. My Marriage is Dope podcast. We see when y'all come over. So we should see some of you guys popping over to YouTube. So
And listen,
come on over.
you guys have sent questions. You know, we answer them on YouTube. We answer them live. Shannon does not know the questions. Only I know the questions. I go into our back office and I get the questions. And so we answer your questions. So come on over and let's see what we have to say to you guys.
That's live Q&A on the Q&A portion of the podcast.
And you can ask us questions over there on YouTube.
In the comments. So come on, y'all. Let's get it. Let's get it.
YouTube, My Marriage is Dope, TikTok. Come on and join us.
So in your like, what are some of the ways that you feel like we can develop we can help other couples develop a more empathetic approach to communication, just to make it a habit of being empathetic?
More effective communication.
More empathetic communication. Not just effective communication.
Not just effective communication. Empathetic communication. I think that for more empathetic communication is being able to receive what you have to say, to look at it strictly standing in your shoes, because anything else is now I'm making a judgment about what you have to say. And that's not the point of why you're sharing what you're sharing with me, right? You do want dialogue. You do, on certain things, you do want to hear my point of view. It's not the time me to tell you what you're doing wrong and, well, why are you thinking that way, whatever the case, all of that stuff. That is simply the time for me to, first and foremost, truly understand. And how do I understand? If I don't understand, I have to ask questions. I'm always going to say this. Always, because this is like a lost art. We're just assuming things. And the cycle continues, and that just goes into a big argument and things of that nature. I have to ask you questions, and I cannot be afraid, because a lot of times as women, I talk to the women every day, and we're having a conversation. I'll say, well, hey, did you say X, Y, and Z to him? Did you tell him what you just shared with me? And you know what? 9 times out of 10, what she'll say, well, no, I didn't, because, and whatever the reason is. And we have to stop allowing our voice to be stifled. And, that was one of the conversations that Shannon and I have had recently, because I felt that way. And part of that is also my responsibility. Because no matter what I think Shannon will say or how Shannon will react, it is still my responsibility to speak my truth. Period. And so I have to be willing to ask you the questions, give you the honest answers, and how I give you the honest answers makes a hell of a difference. Right? I mean, talk about empathy. A human being can feel so misunderstood when there is a lack of empathy, because a lack of empathy comes out in your tone. It comes out in the judgment. It comes out in the assumptions. It comes out in the accusations.
That's good.
Right? So I have to be able to step outside of listen, emotions are wonderful, but not when we're a slave to them. And one of the things that I will say for men, right, that they, throughout all these years, in my book, Wife You, that's one of the things is that we are just, as women, we have a hard time just not doing the assuming and not doing the accusing and taking things personal, and we're not able to step outside of ourself and really look at the facts, right? We are a slave to our emotions instead of allowing our emotions to be where they need to be, but then step up in the logic department and say, okay, Shirley, what's being said here? And just flesh it out. So, yeah.
Yeah, that habit that Stephen Covey the habit number 5, I believe it is. Like the answer is in the first word, seek. Right? When the Bible tells us about God, about Jesus, seek and ye shall find. Like, that's an intentional process of taking time to navigate a interaction or a situation or an experience, and really look deeply to find out where you fit in that thing. So if I'm seeking to understand you, I'm being very intentional about trying to not just hear what you're saying, but to hear your heart and to hear where whatever it is that you're saying, where that's coming from. Most people could give a damn where it's coming from. And as a result of that lack of concern about someone's point of view, people tend to just throw their hands up in significant interactions or what have you, and just like, when somebody cares about what you're concerned about. You know it.
Yeah.
And to go after that before you go after anything else.
Yep. Part of my work that I do when it comes to communicating with you is I really want you to know that your heart matters to me. And when I operate outside of seeking and I operate in all those other unhealthy attributes, it does not show that I care about your heart. And I am committed and have been committed to not living in that place. And so that's why I push so hard and listen, I don't always hit the mark, as we know, but I definitely push so hard for us to not have the conflict. And I'm like, I want peace. I want, like, what is it going to take? Because I really want you to know that your heart is important to me. And so that means I do have to not take things personal and not allow the little girl to show up in the adult situation. Like,
that's good.
That you have to take control of yourself. Like, this is the conversation I'm literally coaching myself off of the edge at times, because I want to go into my little girl shell and act out because I'm hurt. And I'm just like, it's not going to benefit you, Shirley. It's not going to benefit the marriage. You want peace. What do you need to do to get peace? And so,
and look,
it's the long route, but it's the better route.
When you say you want peace, it's not you want quiet. That's different.
Yeah.
Right? Because you could be quiet and still have tension.
Right. Yeah.
And so, but for those who are experiencing, like, we are, it's so funny, if you pay attention, we are literally coaching ourselves right now. right? We're walking through certain things. We're listening to ourselves. We're listening to each other, and we're trying to make sure that we not only disseminate good marriage enrichment information, but while on others thou art calling, do not pass me by. Like I don't want to be caught up in the dry and help others.
Yes.
So good stuff, man. Good stuff. Let's get to this Q&A.
What's up, everybody? What's up, cuz? Joy. Joy's in the building.
We got those questions and answers coming.
Yes, sister.
Listen,
Facts
really?
versus feelings. Come on.
I think that's our godparent, Precious. Isn't that Precious Williams?
Co-godparent.
Yeah, to Malcolm and Carter. Precious.
Oh, Shireen's best friend.
Yes, I think that's who that is. Yeah, I think that's who that is. What up, Pray?
Hey, Precious.
What up, Pray?
That's something that I constantly have to work on, not being. Yes, Timmy, not being easily offended. Come on. That is so challenging. So many of us have to work on that. I don't think my husband feels safe communication with me. There's a lot that goes unsaid and goes swept under the rug. It's pulling us up.
How are you going to stop reading?
Because it's pulling us apart and he doesn't realize it. I said, because he does realize it. But it's the less of the two evils for him, guaranteed. I don't think my husband sees me. He surely doesn't hear me. I do act out sometimes too, just to get his attention. I've conditioned myself to respond and reach in unhealthy ways. Everything that you're saying, your husband sees that. So it's not that...
Well, the most important thing she says is, I don't think my husband feels safe communicating with me. Mm-hmm. So if a person doesn't feel safe communicating with you, they're definitely not going to see you
right.
or hear you, for that matter, because they don't feel they really feel like, and Bree, we appreciate you, and this is just FYI, if he does not feel appreciated, if he does not feel seen, if he does not feel safe, he is not going to communicate you. You're going to hit brick walls. You're going to get stonewalling. He's going to shut down on you. Mm-hmm. So you got to find a way to bring safety. And safety comes with your previous comment, which is hearing his heart. Mm-hmm. If you can hear his heart and demonstrate that you've heard his heart, and that's empathetic communication.
So, Bree, I want to give you an assignment, right? I would go out. I would not do it inside the house. Y'all go to Starbucks, go to a restaurant, take him out to eat, whatever. And while you're there, I want you to say to him, babe, we've been, butting heads for a minute, and I know that I have something to do with this. I have a huge part to play in this. And I want to know what it is that I can do to be a better wife for you. This is the key, Bree. Whatever, I don't care what he says. I do not care what he says. Don't you say a negative word against what he says. Meaning, don't say, well, I've done that, or I already do that, or I tried it before. You told me this before, and I did, and you don't do none of that. He's saying it because you may have done it before, but you're not consistent. And when Shannon and I talk about the difference between doing and being, doing is not sustainable. You're doing so that you can get something in return. When you don't get that in return, you stop doing. Mm-hmm. So now, Bree, you have to have the mindset of, okay, who do I want to be? This means outside of what my husband does or does not do, outside of what my husband says or does not say, who do I want to be? How am I going to show up? That is life-changing, and that is going to get you the answers that you're seeking and the change that you're seeking if you've married a good guy. If you didn't marry a good guy, Bree, I don't know. But if you married a good guy and y'all are just hitting and missing, trust me, do this and come back and let us know how it works.
All right, let's get to this Q&A.
Okay. First question. What can I do to help my husband become more vulnerable? This actually goes to what Bree just said. Bree's challenge. What can I do to help my husband become more vulnerable? He shuts down as soon as we start getting into conversations of his growth and the things he needs to change.
All right, pause right there. What she can do is stop criticizing him. Immediately. Stop. Thank you, Bree. Stop criticizing him. If he's immediately shutting down, it's not just a conversation. It is an indictment on what he is not doing. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. And you have to find that place that allows you to stop criticizing him. In that environment of criticizing, folks will shut down. They will stonewall. That's an outgrowth of criticism is stonewalling, shutting down.
And so I'm going to give the other side of that, right? Because I don't want to assume that you're criticizing, because you could have married somebody who came into the marriage with issues of being vulnerable, right? So perhaps he doesn't even have the tools, right? So you're asking, what can you do to help him open up? If he doesn't have the tools, it's really not much you can do. You all need to seek a third party. But what I will say is have the conversation with him, if you have not, about how do you feel about, like, what are your thoughts on emotions? What are your thoughts about feelings? Right? That right there, whatever his answer is, will help to give you a glimpse into how he views that, because that's vulnerability, right? He may feel like that's being weak, right? So there may be experiences that he has had that has caused him to not be vulnerable. So even before you guys got married, he was vulnerable enough, I'm assuming, for you to marry him, but he got the cow and now he could just chill. He's like, yeah, I'm not, like, that's not his thing. So one or two things, like Shannon said, if you're criticizing him and how you talk to him, being disrespectful, your tone and disregarding him, yeah, he's not going to be vulnerable. So.
All right, next question. Good question. We're coming to you, Timmy Taft. We got a question in the comments. But go finish with you, and we'll come to her.
Shannon and Shirley, thank you for your transparency. It has blessed us. It was a real wake-up call when Shannon spoke about feeling so disconnected from Shirley that it led to him cheating. My husband and I are disconnected, and we are so thankful that so far no one has stepped out, but we want to know how to make sure that doesn't happen. I will take accountability. And then she put in parentheses, Shirley, your book has helped me with that because it has been a challenge for me. One of the main reasons my husband is disconnected is because I criticize him. I have been of the belief I am redirecting him and helping him to see wisdom, but he doesn't see it as such. So what can I do? This is such a big thing. At the end of the day, do you want to be the wife that is known for criticizing or contributing? Right? Because there's a difference. How you give wisdom and how you give redirection. A man knows when there's a human being knows when there's criticism there and there's judgment there, right? And listen, they are not our children, right? Sometimes they're just going to make a bad decision and you can see them about to make a bad decision. Once you've said your piece, and Shannon will tell you, I'm good at this. Once I've said my piece, you make the decision, and if it's a bad decision, we're just going to have to figure out how to clean it up. A lot of people can't deal with that. But the alternative for me is way worse. Like arguing and all that. This is what we should do. No, okay. If this is what you feel like we should do, I'm going to go with it. And when we're dealing with the consequences, maybe you'll listen to my wisdom next time. Stop trying to push your wisdom on him, sis. It's not going to work. You will shut him down. So that's...
Well, I mean, I think that, one of the things, you're leaning. Stop leaning.
Why are you offended by me leaning?
I'm looking at the frame of the shot. You out of the shot.
Oh, I'm out the shot. Okay, I'm sorry. I lean this way, baby.
Don't lean. Just sit straight up.
Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. But the antidote to criticism is just being able to softly deal with I statements. Mm-hmm. You can't, if your conversation is starting with you, then unfortunately, that's going to come off as criticism.
Yeah.
It should be I. If you're making I statements, that means you're owning what's going on, but you're sharing from a very intimate place, and that's the heart. The I is in the heart. And if you can do that more, I believe that you'll get not a perfect result, but a more effective result.
Mm-hmm. I saw a clip of you guys on Girls Stop Playing podcast, and you talked about both of you having an affair. Why not just choose to go separate ways? Isn't that best than to keep trying and make something so hard work?
You know what? That's just like saying...
What?
That's like saying to... imagine saying to Steve Jobs, why not just use a regular phone? Why worry about trying to invent and come up with technology and all of these different things to make your life better? It is going through those challenges of working through conflict or working through, in the business world, design challenges or creativity challenges. What's on the other side. What's on the other side is treasure. Mm-hmm. But if you give up before you get to the treasure, right, you'll never know what you could have experienced. But, it is... This is the crazy part. It's easy for people to leave. Mm-hmm. That's the part that people don't understand. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it was definitely easy. I was a leaver anyway. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely easy for people to leave. But when you see people having affairs, not justifying affairs at all, mm-hmm. What that's saying is, I don't like what I'm experiencing, and I want to try to do something in the short term to experience it, but I don't want to also deal with the absolute heartbreak of being separated from this person that I care so deeply about. Mm-hmm. It's a statement, it's a dichotomy that exists that is unexplainable. Mm-hmm. Like, it's easy. It would have been easy to just tear up our family. Yeah. But when we see our children now, mm-hmm. It makes it worth it. Mm-hmm. Am I not right?
No, you're right. Listen, a lot of people see marriage as, man, it's just a place where you suffer, right? But that reminds me of a quote that suffering ceases to be suffering once you realize the purpose of suffering, mm-hmm. right? So you're going to continue to suffer if you don't get out of suffering what you should be getting out of it.
What you should be getting out of it.
And what you should be getting out of it are lessons learned. You're being stretched. You're being taught something. But if you're not open to what it is you're being taught, and whatever you're being taught, it has something to do with you. You think it has to do with your partner, but it has to do with you. And that's the problem with conflict. We keep looking at our spouse instead of looking at us. So no, why would we give it? Listen, it is just so easy to give up. That's mm-hmm. the easy thing to do. Right? That's the easy thing to do, to give up. But we're committed. We're in a covenant. We said we're doing this for life. Why am I giving up on that? I went into it knowing what it was.
Well, most people don't go into it knowing what it is. But listen, coming from a person that has dealt with 2 cancer diagnoses, I could have just gave up and died. That would have been easy. No, don't give me no treatment. Don't, right? But, and I live with constant pain.
Yeah. Yep.
But it's better than not living at all. I can tell you that much.
And let me say this. There's a joy that comes with finishing that does not come with changing. You could change spouses, but finishing the race, you'll never experience that.
That's good. It's a totally different feeling.
It's a totally different feeling.
I could think of the marathoner or the person that's doing the what's it called, the Ironman.
Yep.
Who comes across the finish line barely walking. Like, there's some that have just looked so debilitated, like so tore up from this grueling race. And you could have said to them, it would have been so much easier for you to just quit.
Yeah.
At mile 15 or mile, 85 of the bike. Or mile 15 of the run,
That's right.
or half a mile into the swim. Why didn't you just give up? But it was something about going across that finish line and getting that Ironman medal on your neck.
That's right.
That the people that did give up will never ever experience.
And they'll be sitting on the sidelines like, dang, that could have been me.
That
if
could
I
have been me.
Pushed through.
That could have been me.
Trying to tell you.
All right, let's get Timmy Taft. We're gonna come to the comments right now. Timmy Taft. Any tips on how my husband and I can be consistent with our daily check-in routine? Highs and lows of the day. It's been challenging to maintain.
So, my question is this an everyday thing? And it sounds like that's what you're saying. It sounds like you're saying it's every day. That's why it's hard to maintain. That's not sustainable. Right? You guys are going to be married till forever. Right? You look pretty young. I don't know, your 30s, 40s, 20s. I don't know, right? But let's say God gives you another 40 years. Y'all are going to do this every day. That's not sustainable. So one of the tips is to decrease that. It doesn't need to be every day. Right? Just in us having a conversation when he comes from work, or, what we walk in the house, like, hey, babe, how's your day? And then we just talk about our day naturally. It's not a check-in. What's your high? What's your low? Right? So I just encourage you, just be organic. And then if, twice a month, you guys want to do a check-in, especially, for financial reasons, like, with the finances once a month or something like that. Absolutely. Because we definitely believe in check-ins. But you can make the check-in just organic, authentic, intimate, you know what I'm saying? Not like, we're sitting in a board meeting and a routine.
It's time for the check-in.
Right. So kudos to you guys, though, for even doing the check-in. Seriously, like being intentional about wanting, what the check-in has to offer.
Now, the one thing I would add to that is just make it a habit of asking open-ended questions, just generally in your conversation. Check-ins can tend to be like you're checking in with your kids. How was the day? Did you get your homework done? How's it going at school? And you get one-word answers. Fine. Okay. That's boring. But if you can interweave open-ended conversations within the conversation, open-ended questions within the conversation, then that will allow you to experience the organic nature of a check-in as opposed to officially, quote-unquote, checking in. All right. How many more? Timmy, I hope that answered your question. Let us know. I don't know if she's still there.
Timmy.
If she's still there or not, Timmy. But let us know.
My fiance is on my head about social media etiquette, as she calls it. She has a problem with me liking other females' pictures, and I'm of the belief she is the one I've chosen, and I believe it's more her insecurity than my actions that's problematic. I am a man. I'm not saying I want the women. I'm simply saying what I'm seeing is attractive. Trust me, I know my wife has her crushes as well. But she values your marriage and opinion, and we both agree that whatever you say, we'd go with.
I don't know if they're watching. I hope they're watching.
I don't know if they're watching, but buddy.
But hey, man, keep your keep your checks and your thumbs up and your thoughts about that to yourself. Those are yours. It's okay, and you don't have. I'm not saying dwell on them and right. If you think a woman is attractive, just mark her as attractive in your mind and keep it pushing. You don't even have to make it a thing. It doesn't have to be a thing. And it's not like, it's obvious when you see somebody attractive, or you can say to your wife, like, man, she was pretty, or he can say, yeah, she can say, well, man, he was handsome, or whatever. But I'm not saying hide from it, but I'm not saying don't be overt with it either. That's unwise.
Yeah, that's disrespectful. It's unhealthy to your marriage. It will not endear your wife to you. Do you want her to like you and want to be around you and want to share her body with you and share her heart? Do you want that or not? Because if not, then don't even marry her. Please don't ruin her life like that, bro.
Did he say girlfriend?
He said fiance.
Oh, fiance.
Don't ruin her life, because that's what you're about to do, and ruin yours, matter of fact. Right? That is highly disrespectful. I'm a man. That right there just shows you're not even ready for marriage. What does that mean? I'm a man. Right?
That means that's the assumption that because you have a penis, you get a pass for objectifying women.
Yeah, bro.
And you don't get a pass for that. That's just not. It's not cool. It's not to say that when you see someone that is attractive, right? So imagine Shirley and I, we're walking, we're somewhere publicly, and I see an attractive woman. What the check mark is, what the liking a photo is me turning my head and looking at the woman. Mm-hmm. That's disrespectful. Within that context, that's disrespectful. Why can't I just say, wow, she's pretty? Mm-hmm. I don't have to say it out loud. I don't have to say it verbally. Wow, she's pretty, and keep it pushing.
Mm-hmm. Keep it pushing. Mm-hmm.
What you chewing on?
Oh, lemon seed.
Right? And just keep it pushing. There's no need to take it any further than that, especially since she has expressed to you the fact that she doesn't like it.
And so I encourage you to have a sit down with yourself and be honest, bro. Just because you love her doesn't mean you need to marry her. Every good boyfriend doesn't make a good husband. If you know you're not going to be a good husband for her, because you're already going to have challenges if you are a good husband.
Yeah, he done said he a man, so that's just like, hey,
right.
We went to the strip club. I'm a man.
Right. Come on.
The girl, my work wife. She my work wife. I wasn't getting the attention. I'm a man.
Right.
Right.
On,
that just.
Yeah.
That's a train wreck waiting to happen.
Yep. Good questions, guys. Good questions.
Is that the last one?
Yeah.
All right. Listen, well, thank you for joining us.
We will, Bree.
Thank you for joining us for another edition of My Marriage is Dope podcast.
Yes.
Remember to subscribe to this channel. Hit the bell notifications so that you can be made aware of when we are posting new, relevant, and sincere content. That is our goal, to add value to your lives in a way that enriches your relationships. And it's so good to be here with my girl. So who are you again?
What you mean?
Who are you?
Who am I?
Yeah, Coach Cheryl, Big Cheryl.
Big Cheryl. Jersey. Queen Mother Rage.
Queen Mother
Come on
Rage,
now.
a.k.a. Queen Mother Rage,
AKA.
a.k.a. Big Cheryl.
Jersey, a.k.a.
Listen, thank you guys for joining us once again. We have had an amazing time. This has been another episode, and we will see you on the next one. Peace. And blessings.